Yesterday, Sayadaw explained about the Dukkhanupassana, the Dukkhanupassana, the observation of or realization of dukkha, suffering. There are many more things to tell about the dukkha. So Sayadaw want to elaborate about the dukkha today. If we elaborate, it may take 2 or 3 days more to finish this discourse on dukkha. But to make it clearer, Sayadaw continue some more about the dukkha, and then Sayadaw will explain several kinds of dukkha, suffering or distress, and then the danger or the fatal danger which can come from the unknowing or dukkha, suffering. So dukkha, suffering or distress mean the mind and body or mental and physical phenomena which are subject to impermanence. So anything which is impermanent is called dukkha. So pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling, or the neutral feeling, or comfort, discomfort, or neutral feeling, they are all come under dukkha, suffering. Because they are all subject to impermanence. They are victim of impermanence. So they are all counted into dukkha, suffering. But in this case, it is quite clear to everybody that pain, unpleasant sensation, or discomfort are called dukkha, suffering. It is quite reasonable. But the pleasant sensation or comfortable feeling or pleasure are also counted as a dukkha. This point is quite difficult to understand for most of us. So I want to explain this. So in the phenomena which are subject to suffering, included in the 3 types of feeling: pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling as well. So they are all counted. They are all counted as a dukkha, suffering. So in this case, there's a point we need to understand. So here, dukkha, suffering, is divided into 3 categories. Number 1 is dukkha, and the second one is viparinama dukkha, and third one is sankhara dukkha. So this dukkha must be understood in 3 ways.
Makhanda Anita Potaba Anita Yoni, Ku Majate Ioni, Macone Ioni, Kurela Tivaluci, Macone Kandahu. Say my lavida, for Lucy, Macone, Kanzamu, say Macone, Kanzamu, say me Chanda, who only died in Keda. Erari Guru Kurega Macanda, who say Macanda, who did the Muguro. Any kinds of holy go dukkha, look over it. See ye, body. See ye. That I do the chapter, a deity attack 12 years only. Alone see ye, body. They would be Yava.
So this suffering they come the unpleasant contact or unpleasant contact with the object, unpleasant contact with the unpleasant object. So when the unpleasant object disappears, there's no more unpleasant touching, and then no more unpleasant pain, or no more unpleasant feeling. The Phada Pacaya Vedana, because of contact, Vedana sensation take place. The good contact result in good feeling, bad contact result in bad feeling of unpleasant sensation. When the bad contact disappears, the unpleasant sensation also disappears. It is just like a burden on our shoulder or back. When we are overloaded, very heavy burden, very heavy load on our shoulder or back, it is very tiring, or we feel very fatigued or exhausted. So unpleasant feeling, pain or irritation, unpleasant sensation, discomfort tortures us as long as we are carrying the load on our back or shoulder. Once we put down that load or the burden, then we feel released. So in the same way, when we have a thorn in our flesh, it is a very painful, unpleasant sensation, piercing, sharpening in our flesh. Once we take it out, when we take the thorn out, the unpleasant sensation becomes released, and it is replaced with a pleasant sensation. So in the end of the unpleasant sensation, pleasant sensation comes. So once you get free from the unpleasant sensation or discomfort, pleasant sensation or pleasure occur to us. So it can be said is a quite recommendable to have unpleasant sensation, because in the end we feel release and pleasure. So unpleasant sensation actually lead us to pleasure. So it may be quite reasonable to encounter unpleasant sensation, because which lead us to pleasure in the end. So one obvious thing is when we cannot clean our bowel, or when we have constipation, so our body is not comfortable, discomfortable. We feel not active. It's quite heavy, our body. Sometimes we have problem with the passing water or passing motion, and then we feel really tired, so tired that we have sweated as a result of the constipation or some problem with the urine. So just imagine how terrible our physical body, how terribly our physical body subject to the pain, suffering, dukkha. So we are severely or seriously suffer mentally or physically under several types of the irritation, unpleasant sensation. When we clean our bowel out, or we cure the constipation, and then we feel release. Our physical body becomes light and we feel active, energetic again. So that's comfortable. That comfortable feeling is called a type of sukha, viparinama sukha, as a sukha resulting from changes. So in the end of the dukkha suffering, we will experience the pleasure, pleasant sensation, which is called viparinama sukha. So when we note unpleasant sensation such as pain, irritation, any types of discomfort, so we are supposed to see the true nature of the physical suffering or mental suffering, and then at the same time we are able to experience the pleasure or release in the end of the suffering or unpleasant sensation. So that's called the viparinama sukha. So this also must be observed, noted accordingly. For example, when we hungry or thirsty, so we suffer unpleasant sensation, which is called dukkha. When we eat, then we eat or drink, then we feel released, or a type of pleasure. This pleasure also must be observed or noted thoroughly. Then another example is when cold or heat. When we are very cold, it is also a type of suffering. And then or very hot, then it is also suffering. So when we cold, we make ourselves warm, or we keep ourselves warm, covered with a blanket, something like this, and then we feel warmness. It is a type of sukha, pleasant sensation. When we feel hot, and then we make ourselves cool down in some way or the other, then that coolness is also a type of pleasure, a pleasant sensation. So from heat to cold, from cold to heat or warm, these changes provide us with a pleasure or pleasant sensation or release. This is viparinama sukha, the pleasure resulting from the changes. And then when we work a lot, we got tired and exhausted, then we take rest. Release is there, pleasure is there. That pleasure or release is also called similarly the viparinama sukha. The sukha originated from the changes. So these all phenomena of the sensation are occurring to us all the time, must be noted and observed. If you live the only posture, or sitting for long, or standing for long, or walking for long, if we spend our time walking for long or standing for long, then we have to encounter the discomfort, unpleasant sensation, dukkha. So when we change our bodily posture, then we feel release, a type of pleasure, viparinama sukha. The pleasure resulted from the changes. And then sometimes we eat too much, we sleep too much, then we feel heavy, we are not alert or we are not active, we put on weight. Then we have to reduce our weight. only then we feel light and active. So we can elaborate in this way. And when we eat also, we eat too much and then we feel heavy. So after digestion and digestion, then we feel active, alert again. So throughout a day we are able to experience the pleasant and unpleasant sensation, or a pain, or a dukkha, and in the end of the dukkha there is a pleasure, viprinama sukha. These dukkha and viprinama sukha are all the time occurring to us. They are all must be noted. So this is enough for us to elaborate dukkha and viprinama sukha. Now Sayadaw continue to viprinama dukkha in our mind and body process. So there are pleasant objects all the time occurring to us. When the pleasant objects occur to us, then we feel happy, comfortable. It is called sukha, physically comfortable, and then somanasa, mentally happy. So these two are combined and called sukha. So pleasant sensation or pleasant sensation resulted from pleasant object. For example, when we feel hot or heated, the breeze is a type of pleasure. When we feel cold, we keep warm our body. That warmness is also a type of pleasure. It's a sukha. This type of sukha is called titi sukha, or pleasant pleasure. And then a moment or a few moments later, that pleasant pleasure or pleasant sensation, they disappeared. Then in the end of the pleasant sensation, there is dukkha, pain or unpleasant sensation. So that dukkha, unpleasant sensation, discomfort, is called viprinama dukkha. The dukkha or the discomfort resulting from the changes. When we observe all the time sensation, pleasure or unpleasure, pleasant or unpleasant, comfortable or uncomfortable, we are able to see this pleasure and the unpleasant feeling in the end of the pleasure. Dukkha and sukha and viprinama dukkha. So pleasant sukha or present sukha and dukkha in the end of the pleasant feeling. So if we observe, we can see this type of sukha and viprinama dukkha all the time. These are all must be noted. So when everything goes smooth, we make money smoothly, everything is under favorable condition, then we feel happy. And this is a pleasant sensation or the sukha. So when we are successful in our education, when we trying to gain an education, or when we seek our lover, and then we get the one we love, then we happy, mentally and physically and emotionally as well. These are pleasant feelings, sukha. So these sukha, pleasant feeling, mental or physical or emotional, are connected with the condition. They are all under condition. When that condition is changed, those pleasant feelings or happiness, those happiness or the pleasures are passed away. They are all gone. The moment the conditions are favorable, we feel happy, mentally and physically. That happiness is called sukha, titi sukha, present sukha. The people, they always think highly of those pleasant sensations or pleasant sukha. But when the condition is changed into unfavorable, then they are bound to suffer a lot. It is just like a falling from the height. If you are from the higher level, the severe, most severe, we have to suffer. The higher the level we fall down, the more serious we suffer. So in the same way, the level of happiness, the higher our level of happiness, the severe, the more severe the pain we have to encounter when in the end of the pleasurable feeling, in the end of the happiness. So that suffering is called viparinama dukkha. So in order to able to resist against the viparinama dukkha, we have to develop our mind, we have to cultivate our mind through the Vipassana practice. So whatever it is sensation it may be, the present pleasure or the unpleasant feeling which is resulting from the at the end of the suffering, at the end of the pleasure, these viparinama dukkha or titi sukha, any types of feeling must be noted and observed the moment they occur to us. Then our mind becomes developed. There's no way for us to be disappointed or to be disturbed by those pleasant or unpleasant sensations. So whatever mental and physical phenomena occur to us, they never last long. They disappear, they pass away next moment. So they are all subject to the impermanence. They always fall victim to impermanence. So thus dukkha and viparinama dukkha, sankhara dukkha. These three types of dukkha should be understood. In our body, mind and body process, all the time these three types of dukkha are occurring. So if we note them, the moment they take place, we are able to see their true nature. We can see them appear and disappear right away. So then we start to understand our mind and body, which are subject to suffering, which are all the time tortured by the impermanence, which are all the time fall victim to the impermanence. Then we are able to see the true nature of the dukkha, suffering. This type of seeing is called Dukkhanupassana, the insight into dukkha, suffering. So it is in this mind and body, it is in a domain of mind and body, that those three categories of the suffering or dukkha take place, nowhere else. So all suffering and dukkha, unpleasant sensation, are all the time occurring to us in this mind and body, nowhere else. So briefly, this mind and body are called Dukkha-rasi, the pine or the soul pine or dukkha, or soul heap or dukkha. So the whole body is full of suffering, full of dukkha. So it is in Pali Dukkha-rasi. It can be compared with a poisonous tree or plant. This our physical body is constituted of 4 types of main principal elements. When something is wrong with the elements in our body, we have to suffer a lot, just like a poison. And then several types of diseases. They are always come to our body, always attacking to our body. This physical body is always liable to diseases, several types of diseases. So this physical body is full of suffering. So all types of suffering actually take place in this very body of our own, not anywhere else. When suffering or disease or any types of discomfort take place into our body, the disease or unpleasant sensation or dukkha, they hardly go out. They enjoy themselves in our body. They stay for long. So this our physical body can be compared with the abode or the home of the diseases. So we people think very highly of our physical body. So when we face with the unpleasant sensation or pain, discomfort, or several types of diseases, then we feel helpless. Just like a person who is rowing a boat with a hole in it. So in the river, the boat with the hole in it, the water coming in. So the longer he is on the boat, the more dangerous for him. So in the same way, as long as we have this physical body, so more and more suffering and dukkha coming to us. So this body is compared with the house or the abode or the diseases. So we must be prepared to face with the dukkha, any types of dukkha. So we must train our mind, we must cultivate ourselves, we must train ourselves so that we can able to deal with the diseases when we have. So we must cultivate or develop our mind in advance. If we are able to resist against the pleasant or unpleasant sensation. When we have pleasant sensation or unpleasant sensation, we may not feel helpless. Or when we encounter the pleasant sensation or sukha, we may not think highly of that. So our resistant power become stronger and stronger. So this is a satipatthana practice which can help us to deal with the pleasant or unpleasant sensation So by practicing Satipatthana practice, we have to accumulate our mental energy so that we are able to deal with the sukha and the dukkha, good or bad, or ups and downs of life. We are able to keep ourselves balanced between good and bad. It is a Vipassana meditation practice which can help us to keep us balanced between the good or bad, or ups and downs of life. So as a conclusion, Sayadaw make wish you are able to practice Satipatthana meditation and able to keep yourself balanced between good and bad. Sadhu, 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 sadhu.